Wow. All right. Who's with me on the Insta? We'll see. We'll see who joins me. Okay. So let's get started. I feel like I still want one more thing to hold up. I think we're good. I think that's actually okay. All right, awesome. So tonight, what you will need for this class is definitely some extra props. So I have a blanket here. You see I'm going to bring in another couple of blankets. Always a good idea. You never know what you're going to need. If you don't have anything like this, which is a bolster, lots and lots of blankets and pillows are always a great idea. So grab what you need in that respect. And I'm going to use my Zabaton probably because I always kind of like to use that. All right, we're going to be doing a Yin practice tonight. So Yin is a little bit different from regular, more traditionally experienced yoga classes, which is a lot of poses and moving around and stuff like that. That's the Yang style of yoga. So you have Yin and Yang, which is how hilarious that this would be behind me. So we use our props in order to support being in the poses for a little longer. And so that's one of the main differences is that we'll be holding the postures for, instead of a number of breaths, we'll be holding them for several minutes perhaps. So I'm actually going to bring, and by the way, props to Haley Parks. She gave this to me for my birthday last year. She might have given this to me for my birthday last year. Ooh, not good. Not good. We need one of these guys behind here. So, sorry, Instagrammers. I realized that I don't have enough sturdy props there. Okay, that's better. That's better. So I realized that I don't have a clock, but anyway, Haley Parks gave me this awesome clock a couple of years ago for my birthday, and I'm going to use that to keep our time over here. So we'll put that right there. All right, let's go ahead and come into the practice, and I'll go into more about it as we move through this sequence. I love Yin. It will absolutely quantum leap any kinds of practices that you do, no matter whether it's strength training, whether it's running, tennis, what have you, and it'll absolutely quantum leap your yoga practice, your more traditional yoga practice. But this is actually the real one, by the way. All right, so I've got a nice practice here that I've created. So let's come into the pose. You may want to make sure that you have a blanket on which to prop yourself on your knees, a blanket or two. You may also wish to have a block. I'm actually going to grab an extra block. Excuse me while I fuss around here a little bit. Just like you, I don't always have what I need. But go get it. Get it if you need it. All right, come into a kneeling position for what's called child's pose, but we'll use our knees together today if you can. If being in child's pose with the hips down, you can grab a pillow of any kind. I'm going to use this pillow here. This is actually one of my Zafus, and place it underneath my pelvis. You can sit like that. If for some reason your knees don't bend really easily or your hips are really tight, you might need something to prop up. And then sit forward on, and in that case, you may wish to rest your head on a block using any one of the three heights. All right? So come into child's pose with the arms extended, the knees together. Allow the palms to be down on the mat. And I'm actually, for myself, not going to come into child's pose only because I need to speak to you. So I'm going to sit up in a child's pose, which is actually another modification you may wish to do with the chin tucked into the chest, with being all the way forward on excessive for any reason. Let the eyes close. And some of you may have practiced restorative yoga in the past or before. And there's a difference between yin and restorative. restorative poses, we use the props so much that we're completely out of sensation. But in the practice of yin, we actually use the props just to the degree where we can still feel sensation. And we're aware of how we feel. There's a maintaining of feeling and an overall awareness. There are 3 principles of yin. One is that we hold the poses, like I said, for an amount of time rather than a breath count. And it's very important, therefore, to set yourself up right away in a way that allows you to hold the poses for the amount of time that you need to. So it's practiced at a very moderate level. That is the second principle of yin, is that we practice in moderation. We don't go to the poses in the most extreme version of the pose as possible. We go into them very moderately. So we can stay in the sensation without backing away from it. And then the final principle is that we hold the poses in stillness again. So that moderation piece is really important to that third aspect, which means that, if you're already at your most extreme point, it's hard to stay still. So we'll hold here for another few moments. And just notice that it's uncomfortable right now to hold the poses. Hold this shape. And that's another piece, is we call them shapes rather than poses. Because there's no real rules to yin other than just practice with moderation. Because if anything feels hot or sharp or electric, that's too far. That's not what we want to be doing. We want to be working the connective tissue in the body. So hot and sharp and electric and intense is going to be damaging to the cartilage, the joints, where we're working today. Flattened it up, come into what's called shoelace. We'll work with shoelace with a twist today. So again, we support the joints in yin. So coming into a comfortable sitting position to start. Half shoelace would be bottom leg extended with the top knee bent. If you're coming into full shoelace, the bottom knee is also bent. Knees are stacked. We'll come into a twist from here. If the bottom leg is extended, however, let me just give you this caveat. Take a blanket or a pillow and roll it up so the back of the knee is supported. The knee in particular is one joint that is already overtaxed, so this extra support, if the leg is extended, is required. Because we want the joint to relax, but not so much that then you're hyperextending. Okay. So I'm working with my bottom knee bent. I'm coming into the twist, just turn over to the right side. The chin relax. And although the practice of yin would not seem to be one to build tapas in the body, tapas is the third niyama. It's also the discipline of self-control. Being able to sit in stillness does demand self-control. And right now, given what's going on the global, personal scale, it can be difficult to fire ourselves up, and that's tapas, that's our personal fire. It's maybe hard to self-motivate right now, given all the uncertainty and the requirement to stay in. It can be difficult to keep the inner flame going. When we feel so restricted. At a time of the year where we should be doing a lot of outward things. But this internal tapas, this internal Agni is what disciplines us and inspires our dreams, our creativity, helps us achieve our goals, and helps us move through the discomfort of sitting in the stillness of this long hold on this twist. Come out of the poses, we come out very gently. because we are working the joints of the body. So turn the torso back to center. And then support the limbs, support the joints as you gently unwind and extend to change sides. Go slow. So this time, and you don't have to do it the same side on both sides of the body. Okay? If you work with both knees bent on the other side, maybe you don't on this side, and maybe you need to keep the bottom leg long on this side with the top knee bent. You might even need a prop of some sort to keep under. That's another option. Choose your position with moderation. And bend to the bottom knee if you need to or want to. Maybe support under the ankle. That feels good to me. A little support underneath that ankle at those bones. And then come into the twist over to the left. Treat yourself well. Because if you don't, no one else will. Just saying. During the practice of Yin, it's kind of a really slow moving meditation. And just as in meditation, as there are emotions and thoughts that come up. Some really strong that may really take you out of the practice or away from your awareness and your focus. So as the emotions come up, label them for whatever they are. Joy, sadness, grief, agitation. You may be even aggravated with the sound of my voice. It's true too. Just label it and renew your focus on the breath. And keep labeling anything that comes up or distracts. And this just gives a signal to the distractions that they have received attention. It's what continues to distract you, just wants your attention. You can always deal with it later once you've categorized them. It's normal to feel a little fatigued or weak in whatever area that's experiencing the shape. This will dissipate very quickly. After shifting to another shape. Which we will do now. So gently come up out of the twist, turn the torso back to center, and then unwind. You can say hi. Oh, hi. That's my daughter. She lives upstairs. Okay, so let's come into the next shape. We're going to come into caterpillar. So this definitely might be a place where you want to support your limbs. Or I'm wishing I had socks. Where are my socks? I don't think they're around. Anyway, I left my slippers in my bedroom. Okay, so bring some kind of support underneath the back to the knees and let the feet flop either in or out. It doesn't really matter. And let the chin tuck. You can even come as far forward into a fold as feels comfortable and right on your back. And when you do this, you may wish to use some props to support your head in order to help the back round and for you to feel supported in the fold. We round the back in yin rather than work with a flat back. And in all the other shapes in yin, just like caterpillar, and so the muscles don't fire up and try to do. We want the muscles in yin to relax away from the bones. For there to be softness. So the muscles and the ligaments yield and stretch. And in yin, it's safe to do that because we're not working quickly, holding. And the more you can let the muscles go and not resist, the more you're going to advance the practice. So the less you do in yin, the better it gets. The more you get. You like that, right? So in the three principles of yin, one coming into a moderate shape that deals with the physical body. And holding for time deals with the mental body. Quiets the mind, gives you space to actually experience the pose. And notice what's actually going on in the mind. And then the third principle, holding in stillness, is where we deal with the emotional body. And we're all fighting and working with that now. The first word that came up to me, for me, was fighting. So that kind of shows you where I'm at with this. I think we all are. You're learning once again how to just be. Maybe while you're exploring the final few moments of this pose, feel for how this time, this moment in time in our global consciousness, this time in history, What are the practices that you do in your life where you do find stillness? Where you can permit yourself to be still. Inhale to sit up. Use whatever hands on the floor or props to support yourself. And let's come into Swan. I'm going to extend out on my mat now. I'm going to turn around a little bit. So coming into Swan, it's a little sloppier than what we know as pigeon. Pigeon as we know it in other traditions. Have the left leg forward and the right leg back. You can extend the leg as far back as you want, but again, stay within moderation. It's that second principle. Actually, it's the first principle. You might even use a prop to support the left hip. And we'll be coming into a forward fold. So use your props to come into a moderate version of Swan. In an easy, non-edgy way. Let the head hang and find a soft edge. And let gravity do the work. Use the breath as a way to bring your attention back to the shape you've taken, the sensations in your body. Use it as an anchor for when you get distracted. Notice how the breath lightens the body. It allows you to stay with the physical sensation. Breathe into any physical sensation. And observe where you hold tension. Not only in the obvious places of the shape, maybe the left hip or the shoulders want to hunch up. But you notice the secondary areas such as the jaw, places where the shape isn't actually targeting. Sit with the resistance in the physical body. And in the emotional backdrop behind what's showing up in the physical. Just sit with it. Inhale to gently back out of the pose, out of the shape. And then come into a tabletop position with the hands under the shoulders, knees under hips, and just circle the knees around, hips around, shoulders around. Go in both directions. And stay mindful in the movements. Remember, we're working the joints, and that's a great benefit of yin. We don't make any more synovial fluid in our joints after our early 20s. So yin actually nourishes and moistens the joints. Pretty cool, right? And it's a safe practice because we're not moving fast, right? So let's come into the second side. Bring the right leg forward. The left leg can be bent or extended back. Remember, moderation is the key. Use 1 or 2 blocks to support the head, or let yourself come fully forward depending on where you are in your practice and where you can stay in that moderate range. When I say moderate, I mean on a scale of 1 to 10, you want to be at no more than a 5 and below, definitely below a 5, right? So come into it at maybe a 2 or a 1, and then maybe move a little deeper after a few moments. So go ahead and come into it, whatever is that place of moderation for you. Feel for where there is physical resistance or where you are holding yourself up with the muscles. Well, this is what we do in other styles of yoga. In yin, there's no activation. There's no active lifting or rotation or lengthening. It's just holding. It's just sitting is the goal. Just hold the sit for a minute. My cat is practicing with us, and the door is open, and she's hunting birds. That would happen. Principle 2 deals with a mental body. This is that holding for time thing. And when we hold for time, we become still. This is the exact moment when the distractions come up. Just notice what rises. Planning, the uncertainty, fear that's behind the uncertainty. We've got plenty of that right now. Right? So in this time where we're asked to be still because of a tremendous amount of uncertainty, look at the fear straight on that's behind it. And just label it as thinking planning, fear. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge the emotion and let it stand for what it is. It's fine. Breathe into the lower body no matter when this wave crests for you. As we practice the shape on the mat and every other shape, this is to be carried forward. Breathe into the body as the anchor and renew the commitment to just being, feeling, balancing. Let it come up. No squelching. Just let it come up so it can pass. Inhale to sit up. And once more come into the tabletop position. Back onto the knees. Make those large circles with the hips. Going in both directions. Use all the joints, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the knees, the hips. And then coming into half saddle. I like to use a bolster for this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy. If you don't have one of these at home, which you probably don't, but some of these are great things to invest in, by the way. I don't know if you can get a hold, you just order it. Just order one up, and if you can, if you're able. But that may not be realistic for a lot of us. But we have blankets, we have pillows, hopefully, right? Or just use some, I don't know, just whatever, like a paint can with a pillow on top. Like that's fine, right? All right, so coming into this, take whatever is your sturdy block, right? Whatever your sturdy thing you're gonna sit on. And extend, I guess we'll do the right leg forward. Actually, we'll extend the right leg forward. Bend the left knee. You can't really see what I'm doing, so I'll do it forward for you. So the right leg will be forward, and again, there will be a prop underneath the back of the knee, and then the left leg will be knee bent with the foot on the floor if you can. I like to place something under my ankle joint, just because it feels good. I can bend my ankle, it's not a problem, but for some of you it might be, and I'll show you another position, by the way. And also you might want to put something under the knee. So I've got something it just feels good. It feels good. So really support the back of the extended leg, the knee of the extended leg. If this isn't your posture today, you'll come into a foot to thigh position. Again, keeping the knee propped of the opposite leg and a prop underneath the lengthened leg. And we'll come into a forward fold from here. So you might want to use a bolster, a bunch of pillows, or a paint can with a pillow on it. Okay. All right. The other thing you might want to do, I'm realizing, so either tuck the chin for just a little bit of rounding in the upper back, or come into a forward fold to any degree with moderation. That's the move, right? So I'm going to go into the fuller version of the pose so you see that with my props. Okay. I'm actually just going to use this guy. I'm going to put this on my thigh and come into the forward fold from here. I'm just stacking my arms on my pillow. And we'll hold. Maybe the shoulders soften. Feel for wherever you're trying to hold yourself up. Pay attention to the thinking body, mental state. Whatever's coming up, make that label. Address it by labeling it. Come back to the breath as an anchor in the body. And feel for the state of your emotions and breathe into whatever rises as a result from what you're feeling physically. Even those secondary areas such as the jaw, the shoulders, the face, any area that isn't really part of the shape. Use the breath to also soften those places. Use the breath to build a new awareness, a new intelligence into those gripping areas. Inhale to sit up. And again, gently, use this moment to move the props and gently unwind the body. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, we come onto the belly. We come onto tabletop position to start. It's a pretty simple pose, not a lot of setup, but you might want something for under the arms. Maybe even under the belly and the hips. So come into table to start and then gently lower onto the forearms and then the belly. You can grab upper arms for support. And in here, the shoulders do hunch up to the ears and the head hangs forward. Then everything behind you. And if that's too much on your low back, just working crocodile or with the arms a little more forward, maybe the head resting on forearms. The pelvis relax into the floor, the thighs relax. Feel the compression in the low back. Stretch across the belly. And then come into Crocodile. Snap the forearms and rest forehead on the arms if you're not already there. And then come even further down, slide the arms apart a little so the palms are on top of one another and forehead rests on palms. Both of these shapes just allow the low back to adjust to coming out of the pose. And that one's a pretty intense one. Push lightly into the floor, into gravity, to sit up into that table position. And let's come to the other side in saddle, half saddle. So now extending the opposite leg forward. My right leg was forward earlier, so now I'm using my left. Bend the right knee. Extend the left leg forward and the right leg is bent with the block underneath that right hip. So whatever leg is long, your block is under your opposite hip. Again, if that's not your move, you don't even have to be on the block. Maybe you're on something else to prop up the hips. Your foot's to your inner thigh. Maybe using a block to prop up the outer knee. You pick. And we'll come to a forward fold. I'm using, I'm using my Zafu here, but you might be using a pillow. That's fine. What else? Do your thing. Do your thing. Get yourself moderately comfortable. Maybe you're just tucking the chin into the chest as your stretch. Tapas is, for many of us, we are doing, I think all of us are doing our lives very differently than how we dreamed even a mere month ago, let alone 3 months ago. So when I bring up the word purpose, that may bring up a lot of frustration. Acknowledge that. It's good information. But no matter what, whether you feel like your purpose has been ripped out from under you, you have no idea, because maybe you're doing the same thing, but it's not quite the right fit anymore. Just take note of that. Let that stand. Let it be valid. No brushing it under the carpet. Just acknowledge it. That's all. And start making small moves that will allow you to move toward or create new goals. Continue to stoke that tapas. Because this is what motivates us to make small or major changes. Without tapas, we wouldn't be bothered to do the big stuff, let alone the small stuff. That lead to those larger accomplishments. Keep doing what you need to do. Inhale to sit up. We do need to close down our practice. We'll follow with 2 twists called deer pose. So you can come off the block and maybe move it over to the left side of the body. Keep the left knee bent and have the right knee bent as well. So you're making about like a pinwheel shape with your body. Come twisting over to the side, maybe, like having a pillow, and just come laying down on the forearms or whatever is a comfortable position. You might choose to sit up tall, and again, just tuck the chest as your moderate version of this twist. The block might be high up, right, on its high side. Forearms on the block. That's fine too, and I'm going to take this shape so my voice stays clear for you. And my leg's on the blanket just because it was here, but it could be on the floor. It feels kind of good. So I'm just going to put it under my ankle. Again, you can be up higher. Eventually as the pose unfolds, some of us may want to come down to a longer body to the left in the twist, further down. And then gently come up, gently unwind. And let's go to the other side. And we'll hold it for just a couple moments and we'll go into Shavasana. So you might want to look around now and pull together whatever you need for Shavasana. So bend the left knee, bring it behind you for that pinwheel position, and maybe even support the ankle there. We pick. And bring whatever props you're using over to the right side. Start moderate and then move a little more deeply into the shape. Once you find that place, just use your tapas to hold still. Let whatever you're doing right now, even though it's just 1 or 2 minutes, let it be enough. Pushing or striving, doing. Inhale to sit up. Gently unwind from the pose. And come into Shavasana. All right, so that's about it, and just the Instagrammers ended. Come into Shavasana in the most comfortable way that you can. And take your time. I'm gonna end the video recording here. Take as much time as you want. Set a timer if you need to in order to, if you have somewhere to be after this, you need to keep the time. But give yourself enough time and be as comfortable as possible in your shape. Come up when you're ready. These classes are free and by donation. Donations are gratefully accepted, and I'll list my PayPal address in the description below. If you have any questions, one of the best ways you can help get the word out that I'm doing this for everybody is to just share the video, recommend it to others, subscribe to this channel. All of those things help me get my stuff more visible to everybody else so I can be of greatest service to everybody. And that's what I'm here to do. So if you have any comments, comment on yoga as well as days and times and things like that. And if you would like a more interactive experience, just email me, and I'll put my email address also in the description below. So you can let me know if you'd like to do a Zoom session or a Skype session or something like that. We can bring a bunch of people online, and that way I can be a little more interactive with you guys, which I would love, because in this time when I'm a yoga teacher, I've put my hands on people and, helped them into lots of different shapes. That was always one of my greatest gifts, and that I shared with people and got a lot of very lovely feedback on how much they appreciated my gentle touch in a place to help them breathe. Nothing, really major, but just simple stuff like that, which is something we can't do so much anymore. But that was a real focus of my practice as a teacher and something I really miss doing. So in any way I can touch and help you, please let me know. And thank you.